Hello, let's talk about diabetes. I came across an article online that says about 4.7 million people in the UK have diabetes. Now that's a lot of people. So today we're going to talk about diabetes, and we're going to talk about things you can do to save yourself from getting into that state. And if you're already in that state, things you can do to slowly minimize the impact and possibly get you back to your normal state. But before I start, don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not a doctor. I'm a health and fitness coach who's qualified in clinical nutrition, and I've worked with different people, which is why I'm able to handle topics like this. And don't forget, if this is the first time you're coming across this channel, please touch the like and subscribe button. And please also make sure you share this video to whoever may need it. As we have heard, 4.7 million people is not a small number. So let's start with what is diabetes. Diabetes is a situation where insulin, which is your storage hormone for food, it pushes food into your cells, does not function properly. That's basically what diabetes is. Insulin does not function properly, so it doesn't connect to your cell and allows food to go into your cell. That's what diabetes is. We have two types of diabetes: type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes. Today we're focusing on specifically on type 2 diabetes because that's the kind of diabetes that someone would get. They are not usually born with it. They will get it along the way depending on their lifestyle. So that's what we're focusing on. Type 1 diabetes, on the other hand, is different. It's some people are born with that condition, or it could be a lot of other factors surrounding that. But I'm not going to go into that because that would make this video too long. Anyway, so what causes type 2 diabetes? Because that's what we're focusing on. What causes type 2 diabetes? Well, like I've just said, your lifestyle, the things you do. So if you eat a lot and you eat frequently and you're not very active, you're most likely going to run into diabetes down the line in a couple of years, in a couple of years to come. And it's not something that just happens suddenly. It can develop in your body. This can be going on inside your body for over 10 to 20 years before you realize you're diabetic, or before your doctor tells you you're pre-diabetic. So it's something that goes on for a long time. So now that we know what diabetes is, we know that lifestyle factors can cause diabetes. There are two major points I want to focus on this video, because if the amount of people are gonna reduce with diabetes, there's these two major points that are very important. One, things you can do to save yourself from getting into the point of getting diabetes or pre-diabetic. You do not want to get to that point, and that is very important. Two, if you're already at that point, then you know what this means. You're taking a lot of medications. You're probably always in the hospital. You're probably always tired and weak. So there's a lot of other factors surrounding that. So you know what this means. But we're also going to talk about things you can do to help yourself to get out of that situation. Anyway, so now let's start with the first point. If you don't have diabetes and you do not want to get to that stage, this is very important. These things you can do to help yourself from not getting into the point where you get diabetes. So point number one, exercise. You need at least vigorous exercise once a week, and maybe a easy light type of exercise maybe another 2 times a week. If you're just a basic person that don't want to be bothered too much, because most people can't be bothered, they just want to go home, sit down on the couch and watch TV after work or do whatever, you would want to try and do vigorous exercise at least once a week. So vigorous exercise, I mean by maybe lifting weights, going to gym and lifting weights, or doing intermittent sprinting outside. You don't need to go to gym. Maybe intermittent sprinting, press-ups, free squats. It will get your heart rate up for a bit of time, and you relax and it comes back. You do that a couple of sets. That would help with exercise. And then maybe the other 2 times in the week, you take a long walk. That can help, because exercise is very important. Reason I'm saying exercise is because Exercise makes you sensitive to insulin, which is the hormone that I've just said that connects to your cells to let food in. It makes you sensitive to insulin. So when you exercise, you make insulin work even much better. So therefore, exercise. Point number 2, stop eating unnecessarily. This is another big problem, and it strongly connects to discipline. Some people are eating even when they're not hungry. As far as it goes, some people only need to eat once a day or twice a day. If they really sit down and check it, you're probably not hungry more than 2 times a day. And this all depends on your activities. If you are very active, as in you exercise a lot and you do a lot of things, then maybe you might be hungry 2-3 times a day. But if you're not that much active, most of the time people eat unnecessarily. And guess what? Every time you eat, you spike this hormone called insulin. And the more you're spiking the hormone called insulin, you're taking yourself down to the point of diabetes. Because you're eating so much and your cells do not need that much food, because you're not that much active, so they don't need that much food, but you still keep eating. So you're activating insulin to bombard your cell every time with food that you don't need, and that becomes toxic to your cell now. And insulin don't work properly, and then your blood sugar becomes high. So and that's pre-diabetes, and then you get to diabetes. So stop eating unnecessarily. Eat only when you're hungry. Point number 3. Now this is a technique I do when I'm like prepping for a show or trying to get myself into very lean shape. Eat a lot of vegetables before you eat your meal. So say if you want to eat your meal now, try to eat a big bowl of vegetables first. Plus, vegetables are good for you. They've got vitamins, minerals, and phytonutrients that your body need to function properly. So eat a big bowl of vegetables. This can prevent you from eating a lot of food after. So what I'll do, I eat a big bowl of vegetable and then wait about half an hour before I eat. It saves you from eating a lot of the rest of your food you're gonna eat. So you might not be able to eat that much. I'm talking especially if you're not active. These are the techniques you should employ. If you're very active, then it might be different. You might even eat that vegetable and still be able to eat your big meal. But if you're not active, try to eat a big bowl of vegetable first, and then before you eat your meal. It might save you from eating a lot. Point number 3, eat low carb foods. I think one of the reasons why the ketogenic diet is so popular is because of this, because there's a lot of people with diabetes. Because what the ketogenic diet is very low carb, which I think about 20 to 50 grams of carbs a day, and high fat, and then medium protein. So you find that this will help you if you have diabetes, because you're eating very low carbohydrates. Because like I've said, carbohydrates and lean protein cause a huge spike in insulin. So if you're eating low carb and medium protein, you definitely will get an improvement in your diabetic situation. So you want to eat very low carb. Maybe follow the ketogenic diet. That would definitely help. So now those are the points if you want to save yourself from getting into diabetes, these are the things that you want to do. So if you already have diabetes, what can you do to help yourself? Well, if you already have diabetes, it also means you're taking a lot of medication. Well, maybe not a lot, maybe 1 or 2, but definitely you're taking a medication. Most of the time, most of these people are taking insulin anyway, and other types of medication. So these are a couple of things you can do that can help you. If you're someone that is fed up of taking medication and you want to get to the point where you just want to get your normal life back, you don't want to be waking up in the morning taking medication, or you don't want to be injecting yourself with insulin, you're tired of all that, you just want to get back to normal, then this is for you. So first of all, what you need to do, like I've just said in the previous section, you definitely need to go low carb. If I were you, I would eliminate carbohydrates. And don't worry, you're not gonna fall down and die, because what most people don't realize is that there is no such thing as essential carbohydrates. There's no such thing. There's essential fats and there's essential proteins, essential amino acids, and there's essential fats, omega 3s and 6. But there's no such thing as essential carbohydrates. Reason for that is because carbohydrates is solely made to give you energy, right? And secondly, if your body does not have energy from carbohydrates, it can make its own carbohydrates from fats inside your body. So you really don't need carbohydrates. If you're very active, like I keep saying it, if you're very active and you do a lot of exercise, then yes, eat carbohydrates. But if you're already not active and you're diabetic and probably you already have weight, because most people that are have type 2 diabetes have weight, you need to cut off the carbohydrates. You need to pull it out of your diet. Like I would say again, maybe you need to do the healthy version of the ketogenic diet. That will help your condition greatly. So definitely you need to go low carb. Secondly, you need to do intermittent fasting. Now this is going to be hard if you're not used to intermittent fasting, going long periods of time without eating. And most people that are diabetic, they sort of struggle with that. They find it difficult to go periods of time without eating. So, but this is one thing that you want to implement. You want to start with it. So maybe if you're used to eat every 2 or 3 hours, you might want to start pushing 1 hour a bit. So with the low carb, you might want to start pushing it 1 hour a bit every day. And if you're eating low carb, which means you're eating a lot of fats, that would help you to go longer without eating anyway. So you're eating high fats and a lot of vegetables and low carbohydrates, that would help you to go longer without eating. So yes, definitely you want to practice intermittent fasting. Maybe try pushing it 1 hour every day between meals until you get to a point where you can do 16-18 hours a day without eating. And then, you know, over time things will change. You'd also want to exercise. Now most people with diabetes, well, maybe not all of them, but most of them struggle to exercise because sometimes the medication makes them tired and feel lethargic, and you know, if they start exercising they start feeling pains and all this kind of thing, so they struggle with the exercise. Well, one thing I would say is start with a lighter form of exercise. Do long walk. I mean, do intentional long walk. I'm not saying when you're walking about normally. No, do intentional long walk. You need to set aside time of the day, maybe 30 minutes or 45 minutes, where you go outside and just walk. You know, get some space, get some air, just do a long walk. Start with that. You know, if you struggle to maybe run or do a lot of exercise, or maybe you have too much weight, so long walks would help. Well, also you need to eat a lot of vegetables. So now what I'll do, down in the description below, I'll put a list of foods that if you're diabetic that you'd want to eat, because most people, you know, they are so accustomed to eating a lot of carbohydrates, as in rice and bread and pasta and all these kind of things, that when you tell them to eat low carb, I've told people before that, okay, we need to drop your carbohydrates a bit, they look at you like, so what am I supposed to eat now? So I'll put a list of foods down below, or also you can check out my Instagram account. I'll put there, you can see there now my Instagram account. I'll also put a link to that down below. I usually post foods that are very low carb, and you see a mixture of foods that are, you know, low carb. So you see a plate of food that are low carb that you can do yourself and eat, and there's quick meals to do, they're not long, so this will help. So thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I hope this video helps. I hope in the future we can reduce the amount of people with diabetes. And please, like I've said before, make sure you share this video.